Good afternoon. This is the Townsend Finance Committee meeting for April 21st. Call the meeting to order at 4:12. As this is being recorded, we'll take a roll call vote for the members present.
Mark Hussey.
Don Hayes present.
Andrea Wood present.
Sam Grant present.
Five, so we have four ready to go. Again, repeating that the meeting is being recorded. And additions or deletions, I have none to the agenda that had been presented. And so we're moving into the annual town meeting review and recommendations from Finance Committee. Article is not relevant for financial, so we are taking no action on that one and not recommending one way or make no recommendation. Same on Article 2.
I'll put them somewhere.
First financial is Article 3, and we had looking at it. These are the revolving funds for setting up the town. These are the 11 of the same revolving accounts that we had last year, and the amounts are the same as last year. Any questions regarding the article? You want to make a motion to recommend that the Finance Committee approves this article or recommends this article for passage?
Make a recommendation that we pass this article number 3 for the revolving accounts with these spending limits on them.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any questions? Discussion? None being heard. A roll call vote, please.
Geraldine Bazikis, yes.
Mark Hussey, yes.
Andrea Wood, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to capture it as we go. Article 4 is 2 new revolving accounts. The revolving fund is going to be, first one is, both are coming from the police. The first is for firearm licensing and the second is for public records request. The fees that are collected for providing these services, they're looking to put into a separate revolving account so that they can manage the request, take the revenue that comes in from the request and the expenses that go along with producing the work required for both of these. Firearm licensing requires work, and as does the public record request. And at this point, the spending limit for the firearms licensing is set at $6,000. The public records request is $1,000.
So these are new?
These are new.
What did he have a line item in the omnibus for this previously, or?
This is not in the omnibus. These are revolving accounts where they will take in the fees that for the firearms licensing, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than previously there was no revolving account, so likely came into the general account. Now they're looking to direct these to specific accounts.
So now the police department will have 2 revolving accounts.
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3. Okay.
The 80, yeah.
The police have the 80,000 that they've always had. These revolving accounts would be for this specific.
All revolving accounts are for a specific thing or for a specific purpose.
Right, yeah, it's kind of like, but they're, rather than taking this and making it 87,000, for general and the police, they're,
It'll have its own account.
these will have their own
Yeah,
accounts.
that kind of makes,
It's more transparent in which,
Yeah,
Right.
it's more transparent. If you're doing any auditing, these accounts, the money will come in, and then the expenses related to the work for these will be, visible from that account.
do we have to do them
Okay.
separately or can they be done together?
these two accounts,
Yeah,
it's Article 4, so I think.
Yeah.
it's one.
so
Yeah.
it's together.
Well, it's together in Article 4, we're creating two accounts.
So do,
The motion would be to recommend, the setting up of these two new revolving accounts.
so moved.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Okay,
What's the $100 we pay for? Pocket money?
That must go into the account, I think,
it's $100
$100.
for your license, for your
For the-
license to carry.
to carry?
Yeah.
Yes,
It goes into
that's the money that would go into the account. So for the licenses that they set up, that $100, rather than going into the general fund for the town, would go into the firearms licensing fund.
Okay, and why do they need $6,000 to start with?
No,
No,
this
no.
is not we are not allocating money for them. This is the spending limit on the account, so that they can't spend more than 6,000 without, and so they will take the $100 and put it into account, and when they have an expense associated with it, whether it's new equipment, computer investigate.
So they're starting out with an account limit of $6,000 with $0 in it until the first person walks through the door with a $100 bill.
Correct. Yep.
And that $100 bill goes towards the 6,000. So we're not putting $6,000 and saying this is the limit.
Correct.
No.
We are not seeding these with anything. The money,
No.
the money from the work they're doing will be their own seed money.
Okay, then
So there's no tax implications, and so clearly for our recommendation, there are no tax implications. This is simply creating a revolving fund that the police can use for the specific purposes of firearms licensing and the public records request. And again, the public records request today is probably less cumbersome than it will be in the future with body cam video and people having requests for body cam video and video editing that will have to go. So I think the expenses may be different in the future than they are today. So you might see, well, as those requests change, the chief will keep us informed if something needs to change in this revolving fund.
So let me ask you, if we reach the point of where they have put $6,000 in,
Mhm.
and let's say they're almost to $7,000, does the $7,000, does the extra $1,000 go back to the town immediately? Or,
No,
Some are staying
Yeah.
till 30.
she can say anything she wants.
that would require an article and we'll get to
okay,
something similar. We'll see them further down.
all right.
So next year, there would be an article if there was excess funds.
Okay, we go
Then-
back.
We'll
then
go
we
back
could-
to the town.
Okay.
If we want to move them back to the town or justify them staying there, we can do that, but we can create an article that would move money from revolving
Okay.
funds.
Okay,
So this is just their spending limit, again, if they have an expense,
they can pay for it.
yeah, let's say there's software or software licensing that needs to go with video editing so that they can do it better, faster. That would be their limit on what they could spend.
Okay.
You got me on that one. I kind of understand what you're saying, but I don't really have a handle on it.
Okay,
It doesn't cost us anything, and so to a sense, it's money that they can spend, and that comes into them and they keep, but the spending limit thing, your understanding of it, and my understanding of it are kind of different. So, I think, we have to look into it more, though I think we should recommend it because the revolving funds are good for the department, not necessarily good for the town because that's money that would have gone into the general fund. So that means at the end of the year, we have less free cash
Mhm.
than we would have had the year before.
But unless they just talking about.
Right, yeah. So this,
But
Yeah.
if
They
they
would
were,
come out of their general account anyway, so
it would, yeah.
right,
this is just stocking money away for a dedicated purpose. It's still out of their account.
right, yeah, so if they were seeing their expenses go up, they would have expense lines in the omnibus budget that they would increase to cover this, so rather than the money coming into general fund, seeing it on an expense line going out, this strictly stays within the police department to pay their bills.
A lot of times what they would use it for example, from what other departments have used it for, is like the first one, they might use it for the cost of printing more licenses.
Right, or
You know.
more software for background checks, or.
Yeah, the little things that, you might want to buy, but wouldn't be included every year into your budget, but things that you need anyway.
Just like they did this year for the fire alarm repair.
Mhm.
If they had a revolving account for that, it would have taken care of it, hopefully.
So I made the recommendation, written by second.
Yeah, I
Mark had
seconded
seconded it seconded.
Please, here they are.
Okay, any further discussion, or are we ready to make a motion to recommend Article 4?
Make a motion to recommend.
Oh,
We already did.
I'm sorry, we did that. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was just looking to see if there was any.
We're
ready to vote.
Just to just have a vote.
Yeah, are we good to vote?
Yep.
Okay, then,
Okay. Gerald Bazikis, yes?
Mark Hussey, yes.
Andrea Wood, yes?
Sam Grant, yes,
and Don Hayes, yeah.
with trepidation.
We'll get your, yeah, it's kind of like, we'll get your online, on board. Now, I don't know why this happened, but the pages repeated themselves at the top of the warrant article being posted and mailed to me.
I lost the warrant. There it is. Article 4.
Article 5, so, this is to see if the town will vote to raise or appropriate transfer from available funds in the treasury such sums that may be necessary to defray charges. So they've listed the full budget price in here, and this is where we're seeing some of the funds that are out there. And we're seeing the transfers and how much the amounts are being transferred into the general fund. So you've got the Title V, West Reading Room, the ambulance receipts funds, the water enterprise, and the recreation revolving account, transferring 10,000 back to us.
That's for the assistant director.
That's for the assistant director. So it doesn't specifically say it. Yeah, perfect, it does.
So this goes back to the general.
This goes back to the general fund
Okay.
and funds the lines in the omnibus budget.
Why is the water enterprise in there, but it can't be because,
The water enterprise is in there for the town services that are provided, like health insurance,
okay,
life insurance,
okay.
support from departments as necessary in town hall. So this is not the whole water enterprise. This is specifically related to services that the town provides for
The
them.
health insurance, things like that.
Yeah,
Health insurance, unemployment, things like that.
One recommendation.
Yes, if there's no question, we'll take. the
I have
recommendation.
one question.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? I mean, I thought if monies were left over in departments, they just automatically went with the permission of the department and the accountant into the general fund.
That,
I can't remember ever doing an article like this before.
Yeah, didn't they get-
yeah, this is an annual article.
Mhm. That's my knowledge.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, wait, hang on, let's see if I can quickly get us, okay. Okay. So bear with me, I know. Not the one I was looking for. Okay, this department's, I want town clerk. And I want meetings and town meetings. And then I want town meeting minutes. What do you want to use for year? 2022 or?
About 21, 23, doesn't matter.
Okay,
Why don't you use 20? Because that's the last one we had audited.
20?
20,
Okay,
nice round number.
annual and special. Annual and special. Um, okay, so if I look at this, Article 3 on this year, to see if the town will vote to raise appropriate the amount of the total budget and use the Title 5, the West Townsend Reading Room, ambulance receipts, recreation receipts, and water enterprise fund. So this is the one that comes before the full budget article. So
Oh.
it is, sorry, it's kind of like I'm scrolling back and forth and that's not good. So it is something we've definitely done in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, I stand corrected. I guess
Oh,
because I
right.
figured it was just part of what you do, I just didn't remember it.
That's okay. It's always good to ask the questions, be sure of where we're going, and we're doing the same this year that we have done in the past. I'm just going to jump back then. I'll leave it open in case we need to reference it again. So I'm sorry. Article 5 is the full budget. My suggestion is going to be that we pass on Article 5 because we don't want to necessarily get into the full budget until next Tuesday, the next meeting. And so we'll, if everybody is okay, we'll jump to Article 6 and we'll continue going through the articles. And then we'll revisit Article 5, including these transfers. I was thinking it was just the transfer and we were doing that. But if we continue on Article 5,
You're on 22.
we're on 23. We should be on 23 now.
Okay.
Yeah, see that the date here is
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay.
July of 23. So this, I'm going to pass on Article 5 and move to Article 6. So we get a lot of pages out of the way.
Yeah.
Close your eyes until I get to. Okay. So, Article 6, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a sum of money to fund a portion of Townsend's annual assessment for fiscal year 2024, North Middlesex Regional School District budget, as adopted by the town. This goes in line with
Did you say North Middlesex?
North Middlesex Regional School District.
Yeah.
It's Article
Line-
6?
Article 6.
I don't know, I had the Shore Valley read.
That might have been an earlier draft.
Oh, okay. So it's, okay.
It's North Middlesex in this. So this goes hand in
Oh,
hand
God.
with Article, for the override. And my understanding is there's a school committee meeting tonight, to have another discussion, so the amount may change. Do we want to wait until those discussions are completed and find out early next week and bring this also into next Tuesday's
It's
meeting?
gonna change.
I think we should wait, we can't really go on.
Yeah,
We have the figure.
Yeah, okay.
we'd just be wasting our time. I hope it changes a lot, or I know what I'm voting.
Okay, so the just understanding room is because this amounts may change, that we postpone this until next meeting on Tuesday, the 25th. Andrea, Sam, you good with?
I'm fine with it.
Oh, yeah, right.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
I'm with
hold,
you.
hold off and see what reality is when we see it in front. Article 7 does not have an amount with it, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash a sum of money necessary to balance the budget for fiscal year 2024. That amount will be filled in on the night. It's an ongoing amount. And because I'm chairing, I'm going to jump over to the budget recap that had been forwarded by Eric. And things highlighted in the teal or blue, they come across that way. These are items that I had changed from his original that was presented to us. Because we have the snow and ice deficit number that we saw last week when we went through the special town meeting articles, and that's 262,131. So filling in that information, and then in column A, I added in the which lines I expected to be in the annual town meeting to be here. So when we look in total, everything that looks like it's going to be free cash. The total is the 442 when we look at the free cash. So it's looking like the amount's going to be the information in these columns. Sorry, I got to shrink it a little bit.
We'd end up with a balance of 60 million.
60, yeah, yep. So the balance
61,399.
61,399. Now, when we look at what I've highlighted, there is a line here for 16, and I did not see an article in the special town meeting for that. We did not approve, so it may be that
I think that's kind of Ackerman.
it may be, and it's kind of like so this $10,000 would end up disappearing because we don't have an article to support it on the special town meeting. So that would change. And then
71 or something.
and that's the 10,000 here, so I have to also make that zero. So there's your 71,000. So the amount that he would be, that would be filling in there today is gonna say 417,631. So that's a long explanation for how we're getting to the number, but we don't have a number in here, but there is money in free cash that appears to support all of the articles that are on there. With again, the exception, this was a sheet presented when that item was still on the special town meeting warrant, one of the drafts that we had seen.
So best case scenario would be less 10,000.
There'll be 10, yeah, worst,
Not best case, but
there'll be 10,000 more because we're going to have an article to support that, so we'll see it. So, I guess I would, looking at it, do we want to vote on this where we don't have a definite amount? Because
No.
it's only gonna be $10,000 difference, right?
it should be 10, yeah, at this point, I expect it to be 10,000 different from
I suppose, it's not gonna take a lot of time to, we're just gonna have a long day doing this
Right.
next Tuesday.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
We've already kind of discussed it.
Yeah, there's enough money in the articles presented to cover,
Either or.
either or, in barring that we don't have another late storm like we had last year.
And it's up to you guys.
Well, that's the only one in question.
Right now, that's the only one in question. Again, if something comes in with snow and ice, we may see a different, if a bill gets submitted late, or if we have a storm that
Mhm.
requires, but, so we don't have the definite amount, but we know the amounts that are in
We
there.
can wait, it's not gonna change that much, we'll get a definite number, we don't need to discuss it much further.
No, okay, so
It's just my
Yeah.
opinion, we can move on.
okay, I'm just, sorry, making notes of what we're gonna go back and visit on, so we do Article 5, 6, and 7 next Tuesday, and we might do them in the order of 6, 7, and then 5.
Will we have a new printout of everything?
I will work with Eric and make sure we have a new printout of everything.
And we vote, what, Monday?
Town vote
At
Monday.
town, yeah, but town meeting's Tuesday.
Town meeting is a week from Tuesday,
Yeah, okay.
so,
Okay.
Don,
yes, Andrea?
I'd like it if you'd make a note somewhere too on Article 7. In the future, we have to work on that. You should not be using free cash in your omnibus budget. That should be from tax money. You don't fund ongoing expenses with one-time monies. So we have to work hard to reduce that.
Yeah, we, definitely, it's kind of,
That's true.
But every year we come up with, things we want to work on or look into further and stuff. And this is a good opportunity for us to make notes of things to remember to look into.
Yes.
yeah, agreed, and that's a good one, because I mentioned to somebody, it's kind of like, and I'll throw it out here, if we didn't over budget and didn't have money for free cash, we wouldn't be able to support our snow and ice budget. So we should probably look at what our snow and ice budget is, and I understand the requirements of where that is, but get closer to the snow and ice budget actuals and maybe take over the last 5 years and find out what the difference is and add that into the budget so that we don't have as big a deficit in snow and ice year over year. Try
Yeah,
to get
well,
better.
two, we switched from the old system
Mhm.
to the new system, and I don't think we did an adequate. They did a good guess, and they did good supposition on how much less or how much more that would cost. But
Mhm.
now we have enough information to do much more of an exacting account, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we do too. And I know the Board of Selectmen have mentioned that they want to look at that on an ongoing basis and get better with it. And again, maybe not, if we were to fully fund it and then not use it all next year, you can't go into the next year and reduce it. So you want to get closer, but you don't want to tell yourself.
If by some accident we were actually spending less than we had budgeted on snow and ice, what happens to the remainder?
The remainder would come back in free cash, but the following year, you couldn't reduce your snow and ice.
Well, yeah, but there,
You can reduce the amount that you appropriate at town meeting. So if it's, I think ours is now at 275 to something like that, and it will be that way until it's raised. Because if we lower it, you can't.
Okay.
I prefer waiting long distance into the future to see that you've got a record of snow and ice definitely being reduced, but we've never met the, we keep raising it a little at a time and it keeps raising itself. What happened to salt this year? Don't think it's going back down next year.
Well,
No.
we don't see, the thing is, we don't use salt. Oh, well, we use
Whatever.
some salt, but we use those chemicals. It's
Right,
sprayed
and they're
on-
not going to be going down.
No, I don't think so either. But then,
I've seen those trucks out in several no snowstorms because
Mhm.
he didn't know it was going to be, it did, just because it didn't show up. That didn't mean the trucks weren't running.
and it didn't mean the roads didn't need it being slippery because of the cold or the wet or whatever.
Right. So it certainly should be looked into, but the most important thing is to make sure that the money um, is reasonably allocated to is a real expectation to the point of having a few dollars left after the end of the year if we got a snow-free winter for some reason, and worry about the future. You know, over budgeting if that were to ever happen. It's
Okay,
a big if right now. Making snow and ice a reasonable, yeah, this is pretty close to what you can reasonably expect under any given year.
Mhm.
And that is what I personally have been pushing for, so we don't have to be constantly, you know, giving so much money back to snow and ice.
Right, yep, no, you are with, I think, in the majority of the people that I've talked to, including on the Board of Selectmen. So that's something we'll look at going, with this omnibus budget is going to set those amounts for this year, FY20. So going forward, we'll look at historical numbers and set for FY25 a more reflective amount of snow and ice that doesn't tie our hands into the future in
Right.
front of that. So that again, we'll increase the budget, but you know, maybe to a 75% level instead of a 100% level. So we don't, if we have a clean year, but by doing that, we reduce how much free cash we hope we have at the end of the year. So to your point, we're getting closer to funding in the year that we have the expense. That we don't.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, I did jump from it, and okay, so Article 7 we're coming back to, sorry. Kind of like Article 8 mentions that to see if the town will vote to fix the salaries and compensation of all elected officers of the town. And this is year to year, where it talks about setting the salaries. There's only one elected position that is a salary position in this town clerk. Do we feel we need to make a recommendation on this article?
What do they mean by fix? Regulate?
Set in the omnibus budget what the salary for town clerk is?
Isn't it in there anyway?
It is. It's in the omnibus budget, but this is an article that is a requirement. Again, year after year, we have this in there that Board of Selectmen are setting and fixing the salary and
So
compensation.
we'll do it again next year.
We'll do this again next year.
It hasn't done in time, I guess.
Yeah, that's why I left this sort of other one up, just to, I'll go back. It's
in there.
yeah. So, where it talks about salaries is something we should make a recommendation on.
Year and doesn't seem to be, making any big change to the town clerk's salary. I'll recommend that we pass that.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion?
No.
Then, if I could, roll call vote, please.
Jerome Six, yes?
Mark Hussey, yes?
Andrea Wood, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
Tom Hayes, yes. Oh, I don't have to change it. Okay. Next, Article 10,
9.
9. I knew that. I was still on my fingers and I still didn't get that right. To see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $1,955,089.88, or any other sum from water enterprise funds to fund and operate the water department for fiscal year 2024. And again, this is a restatement of the $385,855 that will be transferred to the town.
I'll make a motion that we pass Article 9.
I'll second it.
Any-
right.
Okay,
Sorry.
yep. Any further questions, discussion?
No.
Okay, roll call vote.
Jerome Zikas, yes?
Mark Hussey, yes?
Andrea Wood, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
Now we have Article 10. I was looking at, I wanted to jump ahead. And this is why Dave is on the phone with that. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate borrow transfer available funds, a sum of money not to exceed $6,100,000 to pay the cost of various water system improvements, including but not limited to the construction of a PFAS water treatment plant. Do you want me to continue reading the rest of the article? But that's the gist of. And
Well, I think if we want water, we better recommend them.
and I just go back. Here. Okay. David, are you still on the line? Do we have any questions for Dave since he's on the line? He's still with us.
I don't.
Okay.
Are we looking for a motion? We want to discuss it further?
Well, I just want to make sure
Yeah.
he's available if he's here on the line with us. If there's no questions.
No.
I'll make a motion that we recommend Article 10 for an amount of $6,100,000 not to exceed.
I'll second that.
Okay, There's no discussion or roll call vote.
Carol Bezikas, yes?
Mark Hussey, yes?
Andrea Wood, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
And Don Hayes, yes. Making,
Well, thank you all.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for
You get up with the,
here and the work you do. And I think you heard last time that people are impressed with the proactive preventive maintenance you're doing. Your work is appreciated.
Well, I'm trying to build for the next 30 years, so nothing happens again. We got in early, so we got a decent price. Pepperell's paying $30 million for their treatment plant. That's doing a lot less.
thank you.
And I know we've had discussions, but everybody else has that.
Mhm.
Okay, moving on to Article 11, the capital planning. The borrow transfer from available funds in the treasury, $1,332,465 for the items listed below. And all of it is going to be borrowed and some will be paid for by the ambulance receipts.
Do we know how much we're getting from the ambulance receipts?
At this point, I would say not yet. We're transferring the ambulance, 500,000 from the ambulance receipts today as part of Article 5.
Mm-hmm.
But this would be a future. My understanding is these are going to be orders placed for this equipment, and it's years out before we start seeing it.
Yeah.
So as a result of that, the amount that we need to use from ambulance receipts would be determined at that point when we, this is the approval to purchase the equipment, and when we start paying for it, it's going to be a couple years out.
So there's no down deposit or anything that has to be made? Just curious.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. Kind of, they probably have enough demand that they know they can get somebody else.
Yeah.
To pick it up if we don't come through, but that's,
It's really an unknown amount of what.
it's an unknown amount right now, but, the hope is that, there's enough ambulance receipts to cover that and the other transfers that happen.
Make a motion for the capital finance articles.
Okay, we have a motion to recommend Article 11.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Questions?
No offense for missing, but I just had a question on the side here. Now I'm back with you. How are okay, you're borrowing the money, so it's not our money to spend yet, but in the future, it will be our money to spend. How is this being divided up over the years? And who's paying for it? This is a heck of a time to go looking for to borrow money. The cost of money is pretty high.
It is, but it goes into our long-term debt. So things that are run out long-term debt today some of them are coming off, and so this debt would be replacing it on the omnibus budget for that debt. So yeah, I don't know exactly how we borrow, whether it's against bonds and things like that, but the long-term debt is definitely a line item, and the amounts that we're going to put into long-term debt are replacing some lines that are dropping.
I have a question too. There's a capital planning, um, stabilization fund. There's not a lot of money in there, but there is some money in there. Has any of that money been used to reduce or could be used to reduce any of the smaller borrowing amounts?
What was the name? It was
It's 73,000?
73,000.
I think it's about 73, less.
And you know what? I don't know if they did do that.
Mm,
That's a
And,
good call.
and it's supposed to be capital planning things are supposed to be $10,000 or more. I don't know why a $2,500 thing is there.
Yep.
That was,
Yeah.
that was brought up.
Oh, that was under facilities. But
That's under facilities for
So
the,
is that a combination of, like 40 plus the crew? And could just-
no, this,
Is that just,
flammable storage cabinets would be for storing the chemicals,
Right.
for cleaning and things.
But that should be a regular budget item, not a capital planning item.
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
We
or-
could have them move that. Facilities. Alright.
You would, I guess we would have expected that this would have been a line item on the budget, or a separate warrant line item, the 2,500 to purchase the storage
Yeah,
cabinets.
'cause if it doesn't qualify, it really shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the guy doesn't need it, I'm sure he needs it.
Oh, we need to, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, the need is unquestionable. But
It's kind of like, but we have to get back to the rule.
No, we discussed that too at the meeting, at the capital meeting.
We did,
I'm kind of surprised it's up there.
yeah. Had we left it there? I'm kind of questioning that myself.
I don't,
I don't remember leaving it there. I thought we did move that back.
you know, I think I missed the last, that's when I was sick, and I think I missed that last meeting.
For some reason, I think it did go back.
Yeah, it's there.
We can ask on that.
Yeah.
But I think as far as the rest of it, I think, it certainly qualifies.
I mean, if we don't get the truck, and I truly think he needs it,
Oh, he
he's
needs
using his
it.
own truck,
Yeah.
we'll just have to start paying his gas again, so there is some,
So, but that, stipend that he gets would pay for that truck.
It does over.
it probably,
Over-
over years, yeah.
Over years,
Yeah.
it's gonna
Yeah.
pay for itself. It's
So
gonna-
that's kind of a no-brainer, and he's kind of, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And again, if he decides to retire, then
Then we don't have to look for a guy with a truck that's willing to take the job.
that's what,
That's, you know what I
You
mean?
don't have
That's
a truck, you
this
can't work.
you know, I think a lot of what we discussed this year is planning and looking forward for the future. And this allows us to look forward to the future, that there's no requirement of who you hire, because if they'll lose their truck.
So do we question the 2,500, get the answer and wait till next week, or do we just go with it as it is?
Yeah.
We can. And if
well,
it's-
we can wait, but I believe the warrant has been posted, so they can't take it off.
Okay.
No. Maybe it got thrown in there because they're both on facilities. I
Yeah,
I
think
think
still-
they put it on there just because it was submitted and just didn't think, you know,
I know we
little
talked,
you get under so much pressure that you just
Yeah.
you just put things on
all right.
Yeah,
because
and,
they are needed.
right, and we did a similar thing, but yeah, and see, I wouldn't borrow for that. That's where the capital stabilization.
That's what they maybe, yeah, we could pay for that out of that stabilization fund.
And
Well,
if they
one reason we have to stop this too is in the future, people to keep their budgets from swelling
Yeah.
might request things under the limit from capital planning,
Mhm.
and that would not be a good switch.
All right, well, we got a motion, we had a second, should we vote?
Do we want to vote to recommend with any exceptions, or just recommend.
Like she said, they can't change the warrant. It's 2,500, you know,
Mhm.
I think we should just.
yeah, I think we should just do it.
And next
I
year,
think
we,
we
again
should
next
just
year.
vote it too. Yeah.
okay, make the note that next year we review it before it gets into the warrant. and,
Doesn't get to 10,000.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, so
We need to vote though.
the,
We should have seen this thing when the snow was still on the ground.
yeah, exactly. So we, and again, we got a little delayed this year because we were trying to implement new software and all that. So there were delays, but we'll go. So we had the motion to recommend and the second. If there's no additional discussion, then a roll call vote, please.
Gerald Bazikis, yes.
Mark Hussey, yes?
Andrea Wood, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
And Don Hayes, yes. And I missed who, Jerry, you made that?
Mark made the motion, I said.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then we're good here. And then I just need the note. Okay, item 12 is a financial item, so we're to see if the town will vote to raise an appropriate borrow or transfer from available funds the amount of the treasury, the sum of $101,588 for funding the FY24 lease for the ambulance. This money is according to that recap sheet that we had.
Right there.
Ambulance lease
So it's coming out of the reserve?
is coming from the ambulance reserve. Yeah,
Right.
so I show that, so we have an amount and they have it showing coming from ambulance to pay for the lease.
Right.
I'll make a motion that we pass this article.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion?
No, they're paying for their own ambulance. Good.
Exactly, that's a good thing. It's gonna, no questions being heard, then a roll call vote, please.
Gerald Bazikis, yes.
Mark Hussey, yes?
Andrea Wood, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
Don Hayes, yes.
Don,
Yes,
perhaps you should, on the recommendation, make a note that it's coming from ambulance receipt.
Yeah.
I will, this is just my shorthand for tracking
Oh.
this meeting.
Oh, I know. I mean,
Yeah, I will do that though. It's kind of like, yeah, on the recommendation sheet, I finished the first one for the special today. I'll get that out to everybody and then I will do the recommendation sheet for this so that we have the opportunity. We don't want to review it, and send comments back by email. I will send the copy out for review and any input can be taken at the next meeting if we need to change anything.
Right.
So it'll be there. Okay. Next item. Article 13 is the pay transfer. And this would be for first, second, and third quarters of fiscal year 23, it says. Okay.
This is cable TV.
This is cable TV and 130. Yeah, so the cable TV funds come from, are funded by the Comcast piece.
We just hold them, kind of.
We just, yeah, and then we give them to them. I just want to go back.
I think we did this, I know we did this last year.
Well, we do it every year, but we just did about PEG access. Okay, I just wanted to get dates. In the special, we had already approved, but that's Q4 for 2022.
Mhm.
So So the special is.
Oh, yeah, so, okay. So
Yeah. So the special, we're doing the special, and the special we're doing Q4 of 2022. And in the annual town meeting, we're doing quarters 1, 2, and 3 for FY 2023. So in the,
Oh, okay.
so turns out that's a whole year's worth, but I just want to make sure there was no overlapping of
Yeah,
dates
yeah,
or anything,
good thought.
in amounts. I just didn't want to see a double dip. So,
Mhm.
this looks clean to me. Any other questions
I don't
on
think
the
so.
move?
No?
I'll make a
Second it.
recommend Article 13, 134, 268, 10.
Okay. And we had a second by Geraldine. If there's no more questions or discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Gerald Mazeikis, yes.
Mark Hussey, yes?
Andrea Wood, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
And Don Hayes, yeah. I'm sorry. Mark made the motion. Okay. Next item, Article 14. To see if the town will vote to appropriate borrow or transfer from free cash or other available funds the treasury sum of $5,000. So Article 14 is for $5,000 to transfer into the 300th anniversary celebration account.
Do we have any other money in there?
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
So-
yes.
Do we know what we might need?
It was for about the 10
years or something.
10 years.
Yeah.
So they're going with a big,
This is important, at least in my eyes.
It's-
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
I got no qualms doing
Yeah.
this.
yeah, no, it's kind of like, but if I go back to,
Yeah, we've been doing this for like 4 or 5 years at least.
Yeah.
it's,
For a number of years, yes. Good number, in fact.
well, again, because of the teal.
Yeah, oh, it's already in there, okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I put it in there. I
Yeah,
was gonna have
yeah,
that
no,
dis-
rightfully so,
I
yeah.
was gonna have that discussion because it wasn't there. So these are pretty much my changes to the sheet.
Right, and that comes out to the 69 or 79, whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So
I
it's in there and it's accounted for.
I'll make a recommendation that we put the $5,000 into the town's 300th anniversary party.
Okay, celebration.
I will second that.
Okay, so we had a motion and
I
a
hope they
second.
make it.
Yeah, will we make it?
We're ready for a vote.
Gerald Mazeikis, yes.
Mark Hussey, yes.
Andrea Wood, no. In a year when we face having an imbalanced budget, you think the $5,000 can wait another year to go in? They still have 9 years or 10 years to do it, and I think that's plenty.
Sam? Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to continue to vote yes. It's one of those things that other places need to be cut, not there.
Yeah, and you don't want everybody in town to hate you like they will me.
No, we love you, and you know damn well. I mean, I understand that there's certain things, I mean, you just gotta keep a stiff upper lip, and I'm certain there's plenty of places that they're a little fatter than they need to be, like the school district.
Mm, the school district is positively Rubenesque.
You know, they need to, something's gotta be done about them. 60% of the town budget goes to them. But what do we get in return? I have to homeschool my daughter, and she's got to go over to Parker from now on, starting this coming year, because of the fine schools they have in this town.
Mm,
Believe me, they're not on the happy list in this family.
Okay, so the vote was four, in favor and one opposed, reported and will be noted. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to raise, appropriate, borrow from available funds, the sum of $8,000. So this is for the periodic inspections for the assessor's office. This was already in the reconciliation sheet. And so
That you made earlier.
it was in the original provided from Eric. So
So,
it's there and it's on both of ours. So that's a good piece that we're there. So are there any questions? Again, required by law that we do periodic evaluations, and this is, I believe it's three years. So this
so every 3 years they do it?
every 3 years.
Why don't they put it in their budget every 3 years?
I think because it could be historical that we put it there, and things in the budgets are things that are going to be on an ongoing basis. And then we have something that's separate, we put it on the article, and address it and pay it from the warrant article rather than the town budget. But it's an interesting piece that, just that consistency of year over year, the lines in the omnibus are the same, and by having the warrant article, we don't set up a line item for it in the budget.
But something has to be done, so we don't really have a choice on this.
Right.
We'll make a motion that we do
Motion to recommend the $8,000. We have a motion to made. Do we have a second?
I'll second
Any additional discussion? None being heard, a roll call vote, please.
it. Gerald Mazeikis, yes?
Mark Hussey, yes?
Andrea Wood, yes.
And Sam, are you with us?
Yes, you got me? I don't know where I am.
So this is, you're,
Yes, I vote yes.
okay, and Don Hayes, yes. Okay, now, we have Article 16 is the energy aggregation. Support. So this is to try to help them get the town lower rates, and so this article is to I don't know that it's a financial article that we need to vote on, or
I think working on electric rates would be financial, even if you don't have a specific number to go with it.
right, we don't, this is just granting them the authority to sign it.
Right.
And sign contracts to aggregate the total electricity load, and much like they did for the town buildings, get a lower rate than the Unitil.
Right.
All right, I'll make a motion that we pass Article 16.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we're, okay, then if there's no other questions, or discussion, we're ready for a roll call vote.
Gerald Mazeikis, yes?
Mark Hussey, yes?
Andrea Wood, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
And Don Hayes, yes. And Mark, I'm sorry, you made the motion?
Mm-hmm.
Second, by Jerry. Article 17 is a bylaws change, and generally we don't
Right.
make
Right.
recommendations.
What is
This-
it?
75 down to 50.
This
I
is,
don't agree with that.
I don't either. We'll have to bring that up at the town.
Yeah,
meeting.
I just don't believe that's a good thing.
again, from
50 people making decisions for 9,000? I don't think so.
and approving a budget or special anything, it's kind of,
I don't agree with that.
I got a lot of things to talk about with that.
Yeah.
I mean, just simply where we're holding it. It doesn't hold a lot of people.
So, but where it's not a financial one, I think we pass, make no recommendation. We all seem to have a personal opinion of it, but,
And we should all, as individuals, speak at town meeting.
Correct.
okay, then, Article 17, we will make no recommendation, or, because there's no financial impact, other than the potential impact of 50 people making the decision on what the town pays for things and spends.
Mhm.
Article 18, this is an article for the Community Preservation Act. And it's to establish a property tax surcharge of 2%. And so there is a financial impact on this, but is it the Finance Committee's purview to make a recommendation whether somebody in the community votes for the Community Preservation Act or not?
I think the Preservation Act, there's a lot to it, more than what people realize. I think people think that it just goes strictly for something that's already committed, where in fact it doesn't have to be. But I think that this is a decision that the general public should make
Yeah.
for themselves.
Because it looks to me like it could just be a fund for anything, and I don't agree with that.
Yeah, well, I think that's exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's something that people
That
should
the
really
people
think
should
about
know
that.
though too.
And we should know what it limits us by and commits us to, which we
Right.
don't really know either.
Right.
Yeah, the full text of the Community Preservation Act is available on the Massachusetts.gov website.
Yeah.
And when you read the full set and set of it, then you get a better understanding of what it is, rather than just a surcharge on anything over the first $100,000, a 2% surcharge of it.
I think the way that it presents itself.
Yeah.
Leads people in thinking that it's one thing, where in fact it's a whole bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, we'll take no action, no recommendation on that. It's a sort of a personal piece. Article 19 is a bylaws change in regards to the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust. Again, not financial, so we'll make no recommendation
Mhm.
on that. And Article, yeah, there was a lot of text on the housing trust. And then the last article is the citizens petition to see if the town will vote to accept the public way in a certain portion of a roadway known as Harbor Trace Road and Cooperage Way.
Now, is this citizens bringing this up, or is this
It was
having to do with the water department?
It was originally submitted as a citizens petition last year.
Yeah.
And it is, I think, being resubmitted on the same with corrections for things.
Oh, okay, yeah, the address was wrong last time.
Yeah, in a little bit. Now it talks about 2 roads, and I don't know if he's still on.
Because I thought that it was taught that the water department needed this to pass for access to somebody,
Well,
and I could be wrong.
No, that's what I was going to bring up, and in discussions with Dave from the water department, he expects with the loads and the trucks that are going to be carried on that road, they will destroy the road. That's there. So as part of the project that he has repaving those roads
In his budget?
in the budget for the project.
Oh, and this,
Yeah.
TV,
I don't see it specifically, but I know.
No line item for it, yeah.
There's no line item, but,
Yeah, we'll hear more about it at town meetings.
Yeah.
Not much we
yeah,
can do about it.
so that,
No.
yeah, and it's kind of like, it's just accepting the road and getting it up. Yeah, we may have to, highway department may have to do, Cooperage Way, but not Harbor Trace, because Harbor Trace will be repaired and resurfaced as part of the,
As part of this project.
as part of the plant project, because of the tariff that it would do.
As it stands now, are both Harbor Trace Road and Cooperage Way accepted town road?
They are not accepted town roads.
Well, then the highway department, I don't believe, can work on them.
That's why they want us to accept it, I bet.
I think that that's a piece of it, and I think if I recall the conversation, Jim from Highway Department did go down and take a look at them. And so I would expect that, he'll be at town meeting and we can ask him to speak.
Did they meet all the requirements that would have to be met for, like on the planning board, like
Back then,
yeah.
but those have changed.
those have changed?
Right. So if it was to go for acceptance, just what I'm hearing,
Right,
if we went for acceptance now, we would not pass.
Well,
Because of
if they go for acceptance, I don't know if you can just accept it by an article anyway, because I mean the work to be done and all that stuff. Were they accepted would be fine, but I know when I was a selectman, and I'm sure it's still true, is that the Board of Selectmen passes on roads to be maintained and plowed and all the rest by the highway department. The selectmen enter into this to a large degree.
got it like that.
Okay, so, again, it gets to, there could be a cost associated with it if we accept it and they have to spend money to upgrade the roads, so. Last year, they took no action on this article when it came up. This year, it may come up. Do we think we need to?
I don't think so.
I think that's up to,
That's up to the town whether they decide to accept it.
Because we don't really have all the
Understand it.
details.
We don't have the details, so we will make no recommendation on Article 20, and that would be the end.
The end of it.
That's the end of it. Yeah.
Go home and get a beer.
You took the words out of my mouth. I got steak cooking too.
You get the last, the last piece. Okay, then with that, we have completed the annual town meeting with the exception of the articles that we postponed until Monday.
Monday or Tuesday?
Tuesday.
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 Yeah.
Can't do it Monday. It's a
That's
town
fine.
election. Everybody get out and vote.
Vote
Okay.
for the idiot.
Are there any last comments or things in regards to this meeting? If we don't have anything, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 5:26 p.m.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting at 5:26 p.m.
I second it.
And roll call vote.
Yolanda Zekis, yes?
Mark Hussey, yes.
Andrea Wood, yes.
Ham Grant, yes.
And Don Hayes, yes.